I don't really know how to talk about The Mandalorian and Grogu. This is simultaneously just a few episodes of the TV show condensed into one and thrown out as a film. And also Star Wars' big return to the big screen. In many ways, it's supposed to reinvigorate the franchise, introduce it to a whole new audience, a whole new generation, while at the same time catering to people who have watched 4 seasons of the story of Din Djarin and Grogu. What a crazy thing that this is here that we have to study. I don't really know what to say other than I don't think it meets any of these expectations at all. It's a right old hodgepodge of a film.
Yeah, Star Wars is coming back, as you said. It's making a bold statement going from TV to movie. And it's like, okay, maybe it's a high stakes movie. Like some of those shows that are meant to have a movie in some kind of way, like I want to see something on the big screen. Mando's not like that. It's just an extended version of this show.
This is the Out of Time Film Podcast, where your hosts Tom and John discuss everything from blockbuster films to TV and games like there's no tomorrow.
The movie acts like episodes in a way. You can actually see when the episode's going to end. And this is, for me, a nothing burger of a film.
I 100% agree. It reminded me of Moana 2 as a very recent example of a film that has a very kind of stop and start structure. And I think that it's interesting because sometimes TV shows have the intention of going into a movie. The Acolyte, Leslie Headland wanted that to go on to being 3 seasons and then culminate in a film. This is barely a film. It is episodes of a TV show repackaged. And I do think to myself, even if this was episodes of a TV show, I would still be critical because the main issue at the core of this is that none of the characters grow, none of them move. And if anything, the character of the Mandalorian takes a few steps back. Oh, he gets a new Razor Crest and he gets a new pulse rifle. We're bringing back iconography from the early seasons for no real reason. We see him acting so much more coldly than he should be, given all that he's gone through and all he's developed.
There's no message, no character arc, or anything that surprised me. I don't know what's going on.
The whole time it's setting stuff up thematically and then just being like, who cares? It's like, I care.
Yeah, there's no interpersonal conflict. Maybe a bit of conflict between Mando and Grogu, like upbringing. I just don't see why they didn't do any interpersonal conflicts or external conflicts to make the story engaging or interesting, because it just seemed like it was just regurgitating everything we've seen from Mando season 1 and 2, cramp into one, and let's not have any changes whatsoever. And weirdly, this is a massive, massive issue for me. They didn't do anything to lead up upon some of the things that is still going on with the galaxy. Like, Mando is hunting Imperial officers that are being scattered across the galaxy. That to me is something like, okay, that's interesting. Like, what's going to happen between episode 6 and episode 7? That is something that could have been dealt with, but we just took a step back and decided, yeah, Grogu's cute. Let's do that. Yeah, let's see what's going on here with Grogu.
Yeah, the film isn't worried about the wider galaxy. It's not worried about the wider story. And I don't mind that it's not worried about the wider galaxy stuff if the character stuff was better, but it's not. Everyone's just saying stuff in this movie. There's never any
Exactly.
character drama. There's no character banter. We have Sigourney Weaver here. Abysmal showing on the character front because everyone feels the same. Everyone is so wooden, and she is so wooden. And Sigourney Weaver is not wooden. To do nothing with her is so annoying. She is one of only 2 women who speak in the film. I mean, come on. How can a Star Wars film in 2026 be this boring and this uninteresting and literally just be action figures talking? There's no diversity of character or of people. And I think that's it is annoying.
Yes.
And I think so much of this is nothing. So thank Christ that this film is actually kind of really well made.
Yeah, I agree. There was some really refreshing stuff to see. The design is so cool. Like the bounty hunter, Embo, his design. What the heck? That is
Yeah.
like one of the coolest things I've seen.
Did
I
you
was
know that
like,
he's from the Clone Wars?
yes, there was an
Yes.
episode where we get to see Ventress as a bounty hunter. Is Embo in that one?
He is. Yeah, he's in quite a
Yes,
few of
yes.
them.
He just pops up like I'm a Gundai. He just comes out of nowhere.
What? Is this
Yes.
2 weeks in a row that you got me with I'm a Gundai? I'm getting slow in my old age. Yeah, Embo looks great. He's translated so well. The way that he moves. Zeb as well as a main character of this, fully CGI, looks fantastic. One of the opening shots. So we have opening titles in a Star Wars movie, like credits. It was very, very strange. No opening crawl, which I think is a good move. No long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That's bonkers. That's insane. Whatever,
Guys,
Jon Favreau. What are you doing?
he just wants to make another Rutter story, Tom. He just wants to make some more. He just
I'm
wants
so
to.
sorry. If there's one thing you can do to make me not nervous when going into a Star Wars movie is just to say we're a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Whatever. It's so not important, but it's just bonkers.
It's just those words that needs comforting. Like,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Yes, I remember those words.
So we get
Yes.
like
Yeah.
our opening sequence and then we cut to titles and we get the opening credits and it's like Top Gun. We see a bunch of X-Wings like landing in different vehicles and these really nice sweeping shots of the Adelphi base and it's at golden hour. And then we cut to like this slow motion shot of Din, Zeb and Grogu. So let's break it down. We have a shot of a fully armored character walking with a tiny puppet and a fully CGI guy. And like the music's like down, and I was just like, what the heck? This is actually just kind of fucking awesome.
And another note to that with the score.
Oh my
What
god.
was Ludwig cooking with this score?
Oh my
Like,
god.
when Mando and Grogu arrive in the city, what was the city called? You know, the other planet to find.
Yes. I don't know what it's called.
Yes. So they arrive
one.
in the place to find Rutter. And as we enter, we hear this psychedelic, funky music, hip hop as well. And I was like, this is actually a vibe.
It's amazing.
Guys, it was like a great distraction from the movie. I was like, oh, this is actually a really nice piece of score right here.
The score is phenomenal. This is the first Star Wars film score with absolutely zero John Williams music. You don't notice, you don't care. It genuinely just feels so brilliant. And that's always been a strength of The Mandalorian. But I can't tell you how happy I was that that was still there. It even makes those moments like the really awkward title drop. It's kind of weirdly framed with like the title at the top of the screen rather than the middle. I know why they did it, but it's weird. Even that, I'm just like, yeah, there's a great moment. You know, I do think the cinematography is pretty good. It's much better than season 3. It's probably the worst looking Star Wars movie, but still looks good.
Where's the colorist? Did they find the colorist or something?
Some scenes are like graded really well. Other scenes is just the most boring. Anyway, the moment where like Din is revealed and he walks out of the shadows and the Mandalorian theme hits, I was like, oh god, this could be good. I don't want to make it sound like I'm too negative. It's just a film that I think is so nothing. It's too nothing for all that's riding on it.
This movie, there's no replayability. Like, there's nothing to see something a fresh new perspective. Well, I get something different every time.
In 2023, when the new slate of Star Wars movies was announced, it was announced that we'd be getting Heir to the Empire, Dave Filoni's film that would be the grand conclusion of this Mandalorian saga, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew, with this massive fight against Thrawn. And then months later, they announced The Mandalorian and Grogu. And that immediately set off alarm bells in my head because I just think, why the hell did you not announce this the other month when we were at Celebration? And I think this absolutely wasn't the intention. Jon Favreau has spoken even recently about how he doesn't really know why this film exists or why he was asked to make it, but we have it. And you know what? That is exactly the same story as Star Wars The Clone Wars. That was the first 4 episodes of the TV show, and George Lucas was like, yeah, let's make it a movie. And The Mandalorian Grogu has so many similarities to the Clone Wars. It's actually insane.
Yeah, I think let's just address the first one in similarities. Rutter. So Rutter, you get to see Rutter as a baby.
My punky muffin returns!
Yes. It was kind of like, oh, that's sort of interesting what he's been through, but we don't get anything from that. It's just the same story as the Clone Wars. Like, Baby Rutter, he gets kidnapped, he is taken to a different planet, he is saved, and then there's some sort of traps being set on, and it's just like, are we watching sort of like repeat or something? It just has the same thing, like, oh yeah, you need to find Jabba's son. Both of these movies have the same messaging. There's no message.
I really liked Rutter. I liked how he moved. I liked how he looked. It's cool seeing a buff Hutt on screen. There's a lot of interesting context behind the Hutts that isn't explicitly clear because they don't tell you, but in the comics, Vader killed all the Hutts remaining. It's basically the twin. Yeah, the twins is basically all that's left. Obviously Jabba also died.
I'm sorry. Why did we not address this?
Yes. So, like, you know how in this we go to Nal Hutta and we see the twins twins, and we see
Yes.
they have all these droids. The droid Gotro is reference, which is from like the Tarkin novel, I think. And we see that ultimately they don't have that impressive of a defense force. That's because this is the final gasps of air of the Hutts. And, you know, Rotta basically is the heir. So yeah, they really don't worry about that at all. It is what it is. And Rotta's whole thing is, I'm not my father. And that's really interesting because, yeah, like what would it be to be growing up in the shadow of this guy who is the galaxy's greatest gangster? That's fascinating. Fathers and sons, it's all throughout Star Wars and with Din and Grogu. How is Grogu's story defined by who Din is? How is Din's story defined by the way that he grew up? All this fascinating stuff. So, how are we going to unpack this? The next scene with Rotta, he says, I'm not my father. And I go, great, give me more. And then they cut to the next scene. And I'm like, okay, maybe in the next one. All right, let's keep going. And then the next time we see Rotta, he's like, yeah, man, see ya. And I'm like, what? Huh? And then he does come back again, but the film is so unbothered with dealing with any of that stuff that it sets up. This is similar to the Clone Wars movie in that both of them aren't a good representation of their stories. If you watch the Clone Wars movie, that's not nearly the peak of the Clone Wars. If you watch The Mandalorian and Grogu, that's not nearly the peak of The Mandalorian. And I hope that one day we can look back at them with the same idea of just like fun times of stuff to like, one of the lower ranked Star Wars movies, but ultimately just a weird thing that Lucasfilm did. And hopefully this isn't the standard. We will talk about the future, but the effects are absolutely phenomenal. There's rarely a moment when the CGI looks bad. I think it looks really, really great. The puppetry, Grogu has never looked better. There's some amazing stop motion stuff with some giant droids that just is top notch. Everything looks so tangible and real, and it's a weird one because the film opens up with such a dreadful shot, backlit, shot on the volume, and I was like, God, this is going to look dreadful. And it doesn't. The film looks pretty solid other than that.
Yeah.
Incredible way to open, but it's not all shot on the volume. It filled me with happiness just to see they have put loads of talent into this, and I think if it didn't have that, I would be rating this film much, much lower than I am. I saw this on Saturday and I had booked to see it on Monday, and one of the first things I did when I left the cinema was I cancelled my Monday showing because I just didn't feel... I will watch it again because I always watch Star Wars more than once, even when it's a TV show. And every time we talk about Star Wars on this show, I've always watched every episode of whatever TV show more than once because I think Star Wars, because of how much it means to me, it deserves that. The Mandalorian Grogu underwhelmed me and disappointed me so much that I didn't even bother. And that says a lot, you know?
Wow. And here I am. I don't rewatch. I'm just like, give me it all, baby. Give me it all. That's actually quite sad to hear from you. It's like you watch it and you're like, yeah, this is different. I'm like, damn.
It broke me.
That's so sad.
This is the first Star Wars film ever where
this is the first Star Wars film ever?
What? This is it. This is the first one.
Wow.
Where we're trapped in hell. This is it. This is the standard. Wow. They're getting rid of all the others. You know what they did to Willow? They deleted it. That's right. They're deleting every Star Wars film. They're going to come into your home and they're going to take all the copies. They're going to wrench it out of your hands. They're going to take every
people that have dirty versions on Blu-ray.
All of them.
They're going to take it all. And then they're going to say, this is the first Star Wars movie, guys.
This is it. This is where it started. No, this is the first Star Wars film that didn't make me feel anything. I didn't have any strong emotions. Before this film played, now, I don't cry at things very often, but I'm a man on the edge recently, and I fucking cried at the Toy Story 5 trailer. And I was with my friends and my girlfriend, and they were like, are you alright, bro? And I was like, I don't know, I don't think so. Something came out of me. That's neither here nor there. Mandalorian didn't give me anything. I just felt empty the whole time. And before we get into spoilers, I gotta say...
Wait, what's there to spoil?
I got ideas.
Okay,
you bloody worry about it, mate.
I trust you. Yeah.
The thing about it is, if I were to rank all the Star Wars films, this would come in at the bottom. I still had fun with it, but it would come in at the bottom purely because it makes me feel nothing. That's the worst thing that a Star Wars thing can do, unfortunately.
Damn. The ranking never came to my mind because it was non-existent. I'm like, what was that movie I watched? Oh, I don't know. Like, it would just disappear from my mind. I'm like, imagine this movie was a memory test or something. That would be evil. Like, hey, what's there to spoil? We can get into spoilers now.
It's better than season 3. Is that
How is that a
something?
spoiler? How is
Is
that?
that that's no? I'm not saying that's the spoiler. I'm just saying it is better
Oh,
than
right.
season
Because I
3.
thought this is a massive spoiler. It's better than season 3.
Okay, spoilers. So
Yes.
there's a whole sequence where Mando gets his helmet taken off. This is our big Pedro Pascal scene, and I say scene because literally he's only in it for one scene. Great stuff, guys. You really, really didn't want to spend that money, did you? And the Hutts are like, "Oh yes, we have your helmet," and Mando's like, "Ah, now you must die because you see my face." And I think to myself, that was never a rule before. Sorry, you telling me
Yeah.
that you just kill the people who've seen? That's not how that works. That's not.
Sure. Let's just add that to the rule book of the rules. Yeah.
I hope there actually is a book. It's like how every religious text ever is just full of shit. And everyone says, well, the Bible says this. And it's like, yeah, well, the Bible also says all these things. And are you really going
Some
to abide?
awful stuff.
Are you
Yeah.
really going to cut off your own hands because you've had a wank? I don't think so, honey. Anyway, so Din has his helmet off and has a fight with a dragon snake in a pool. And it's a pretty fun sequence. He's balancing on these branches and he's fighting the snake. And we get to see Pedro emote and act. And that's really cool. The Hutts have his helmet and like, this will get a pretty penny at the black market. And then about 2 minutes later, they're like, hey, Mandalorian, have your helmet back, bitch. And then he puts his helmet on in time to do a cool stunt. And I just think to myself, you could have had the Mandalorian unmasked for half of this film. Imagine if basically from that scene until when the Hutts are defeated, he just didn't have a helmet on. It would be so much more interesting emotionally, and we'd be able to actually confront some of those things that season 1 was talking about him actually being able to see Grogu with his own eyes. And what I'm kind of getting at here is that my favorite part of the film, easily, is the stretch with Grogu on his own. I loved it. First of all, the puppetry and the effects is brilliant. It's like something out of the Jim Henson movie. It's like watching Dark Crystal. It was just brilliant watching Grogu on his own. We see how he's grown since the show. We see how he's using the methods that he has been taught. He sits and he meditates. That's what Luke taught him. Luke taught him that you've got to center yourself. He survives his own. He makes Din a little hut and he gets him food and all this stuff and he heals his wound. I thought that was so great. And to me, it's building to this moment where Din wakes up and sees his son. And maybe Grogu says his first word, but it's going to be emotional. And then Din wakes up and he's like, thanks for that, bud. This is the way. All right. Off we go. And I
Off we
just...
pop. Time to take this down. Time to
And I
take
just
this
think, I was
down.
like, what a missed opportunity.
It's so bizarre, right? Because we've seen such growth with Grogu, like with his character, and he becomes independent. Like he learns all those lessons from Luke and also from Mando as well. And that's such a brilliant moment. But then it switches to a completely different vibe. It's like, we gotta go somewhere now. I just question that. It's like, what if that's the crux of the movie? What if Mando is injured and Grogu has to do something with that? I think that's the interpersonal conflict of Mando. He's a strong character. And what is Grogu without him? So those are questions that I think should have been explored about Grogu. He's bloody 50. What he's going to do when he's 100? Where's Mando going to be? That's hard hitting to think about. Grogu might possibly outlive almost everyone in Star Wars.
Not Rotter. I love their little relationship. There's a really great scene, again, would have been so much more hard hitting if Din had taken the helmet off, where Din just watches Grogu and Rotter having fun on the beach. And you see these two people who have had traumatic lives having fun together and being free. And these two people who are going to outlive everyone else. There are moments when this film has something to say. I just wish it followed through. Now let's talk about box office. So this made 165 million during its 4-day opening weekend, which immediately makes back its budget because the budget is reportedly 165 million and it is overperforming compared to what was expected. Now, small budget, there are numerous reasons for this. You've got all the assets already from the TV show. There's like 3 people in this. The cast is very, very small, and most of them are voice actors. It's not costing that much. I think it's cool that Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder, who are the other guys in the Mandalorian suit, got the 2 top billing alongside Pedro Pascal. Very nice. So it is the smallest opening for a Star Wars film ever, but of course the stakes are much lower. The film costs less. It's not trying to get back a $4 billion acquisition. Baby Yoda will sell so much merch.
Oh, the merch.
I think the film will do well.
Yes, we always talk about the future of Star Wars. I think that's exciting but terrifying at the same time. Because films like these worry me. All those exciting projects that we hear every year and we might not ever hear them ever again. And films like these that come out the blue and obviously trying to get something out of the ether, trying to get something to work. Obviously, with the box office, it's, made its budget back. but it's something that just concerns me of like, where's the storytelling at? I bet loads of people are like, where's Star Wars at? This is not my Star Wars. What's going on here?
Yeah, well, there's not loads of fierce competition right now. This film could find legs, but the word of mouth hasn't been incredible.
No, I just feel a bit uncomfortable about the fact that we might not see proper storytelling. Like the last time we've gotten Star Wars on the big screen, 2019, and that was a long ass time. Rise of Skywalker is a controversial film. Rise of Skywalker is something that tried to do something for the sequel trilogy, and I respect that. That's something that should be recognized in Star Wars movies. There's a lot more things that people love. People love the prequel trilogy. People love the sequel trilogy, and then this is confusing. What's the direction?
Yeah, if this is released in like 2022, it would be a whole different beast. This story has been going on for so long that you wonder what the priority is for the franchise. I mean, I hate that I'm saying this, but save us, Sean Levy, please. Because
are you seriously asking that? Like Sean Levy?
I want
Free Guy Sean Levy?
Yes, I know. Starfighter is our next film, and I need Starfighter to be great. People love every era of Star Wars, and I think to get representation for all of it would be fantastic. There have been many articles and metrics saying that Star Wars is struggling to connect with the young audiences, and if Mandalorian doesn't achieve that, I think Starfighter is the right way to go. Moving into the future, building off the sequels. Ryan Gosling, like
Ryan Gosling, guys, he's the answer.
Yeah, like if done well, it could be great. And I don't know if I believe that Sean Levy is the right pair of hands, but he's the pair of hands that we've got. So we've just got to pray, John. Dave Filoni.
This whole Star Wars is working on nuts and bolts right now. It's holding together like a piece of cardboard. What's gonna happen?
Dave Filoni's co-CEO. He said that he wants to give stuff to all kinds of fans, and they're working on things that have already been in motion for ages. That sounds like it could be great, but also I wasn't a massive fan of Maul. I'm not a massive fan of this. We've got Ahsoka Season 2 coming up. We've got Sean Levy Star Wars movie. Things are looking kind of worrying in many ways. But god damn it, I'm still a Star Wars fan and I will show up. Oh, will I show up?
They thought I was out, but they pulled me back in.
Every bloody time. What are you going to give The Mandalorian Grogu out of 10?
I'm going to give it 4.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
This is one of those things is like, I think I'd be more confident giving it a score if I'd seen it twice. And so right now I'm teetering somewhere between 4 to 6. I think realistically, this is a 5 out of 10 for me. If I'm focusing on what I enjoy about it, it's a 6. And if I focus on the negatives, it's a 4. So there's 3 numbers for you.
That's interesting. We've never had 3 numbers before.
It's like all of them. It's all of them at once. God
wow.
damn it.
Wow.
Thank you everybody for listening. If you're listening on YouTube and you liked it, you can like and subscribe if you want to see more. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, you can follow and give us a 5-star review if you think we're worthy.
Yeah, so you can follow us on Instagram at Out of Time Film Party, our incredible thumbnails from Zain, on Twitter for more thoughts from Tom and me, and TikTok to see edited clips, which are all also on Instagram, Reels, and YouTube Shorts. And you can find links to that all in the description below. Thanks to Elle for the excellent theme, and Ronan for logos as always. And I think that's everything. Take away given.
Give nothing back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.